Our party is getting ready to take on some Ruidium corrupted elephants, and we're going to talk about how we're prepping for it. So let's dig in. Welcome back, everybody. So, to get things started, we need to talk about our characters. We have chosen our Bugbear Barbarian, we have Dimitri, our Gnome Fighter, Iris, our Halfling Warlock, Jimmy, our Sea Elf Druid, and Trixie, our Human Artificer / Wizard. Strong start. We're going to pick up right where we left off in our last session with the 2 Ruidium elephants just bursting through the Bowl of Judgment. One of them's going to keep pressing forward, another one's going to stay around in the Bowl of Judgment. And I was going to say, hey, that wasn't us. Was that you? We'll take one. You guys take the other. So my party can decide if they want to stay in the bowl and fight or if they want to go chase the one down the street and fight that one. And we'll talk more about that encounter in a second. And then on the way out, whichever party is leaving, I was going to say, hey, by the way, meet us tomorrow at noon at the Corner Cove, which is in the Suncut Bazaar district. That's where they have been staying. We've got lots to talk about. Scenes. We have the Ruidium elephants, so at the start, we're going to have my party either track down or fight the one that's in the Bowl of Judgment, and then at the start of the second round, we're going to have another elephant show up just to kind of balance things out a little bit, and they'll fight them. The first one that's killed turns into the marble elephant, the little statuette, and then the second one just turns into Ruidium dust, poof, and goes away. So they can perform an Arcana check if they want to figure out that these are corrupted by Ruidium, and that's why they are so magical and powerful. At that point, my party will probably do one of two things. One, they'll just go back to bed, or they'll go back to the Bowl of Judgment. If they go back to the Bowl of Judgment, the curator there, Sheet, is just going to say, let's pick this up tomorrow when we have a chance to repair things. Go get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow. And then if they go track down where the elephants came from, we'll run the Cobalt Soul mission, Elephant Uproar, as is, without them having run into Jamil. If they head back to the Bowl of Judgment or they go a different way, besides tracking down the elephant, I'm going to have the Cobalt Soul reach out to them and say, hey, we need you now at the library with something big is going on. The goal is eventually to get them over to the library of the Cobalt Soul, where the Jamil will basically tell them, hey, we've got this happened. All these Ruidium elephants were released into the city. We think the Consortium is going crazy with Ruidium. They've gotten onto something. We need you to go check out their headquarters, which is at the tavern you guys told us about. So head back to the first eclipse and see what you can find out. A reward, if you bring back any evidence, is 1,000 gold pieces. This is something that's super important. There's huge corruption going on in the city. Please go figure it out. If they just go and do it by themselves, they'll get to where we're at now anyway, which is at the first eclipse tavern. The elephants were released by Kelker the Gull, who is one of the masters of the Consortium, and Kelker and Satsrak, who is the patron there at the tavern, are just celebrating their success. Otherwise, the tavern's empty, so they can go in and interact with the two of them, and basically it's going to end up in a fight, I would assume. After that is all over, they can find out that there's a little note in the pocket of Kelker the Gull, and I've got a little link for that in the description below, a little handout that I just printed out, and I'll hand it to my players. They can find that in his pocket. If you're interested in that, link for that in the description below. And they will also find that the tavern has been basically evacuated because the Consortium thinks that others are onto them, so they're moving the headquarters. So that's all that. They'll head back, figure out, report, whatever they need to do. At some point, I'm going to have them make a connection with the Library of the Cobalt Soul so that the library is in on this, and that is going to expedite the process of getting them into Kael Morrow, which is the big reason they're here in Ank'harel. Once they do all that, they'll go and get some sleep and hopefully meet with the rival party the next day. The next day, we'll have them meet with the rivals at the Corner Cove. Down in the Secrets and Clues, we talk about all the things that they've been up to, but the gist of it is they have been running the Allegiance of Allsight story missions from the book. So they know all the things that go on with those. And then after all of that's done, I expect that'll take a little while, some back and forth. We're going to go back to the Bowl of Judgment, I hope, and run the group combat encounters. So the first one is going to be with the rivals again, and I've got planned out what I want each of them to do, because running 5 different people during combat is a little bit to take in all at once. Luckily, though, I really like the way that the rivals are done in the book, because it's a monster stat block and not like a full player character sheet. So that makes it nice and easier to run. The trick with that is that sometimes they're way over leveled for the party and sometimes they're a little bit under leveled for the party. But overall, I think it'll be good, and I think they'll provide a good challenge for my party. So I've got a couple of different attacks. If my party happens to win, the finals will be against some of the other combatants that they have fought so far in the Bowl of Judgment: Murin the Monk, Ella the Bard, Clanger the Rogue, Fear the Barbarian, and Sagan the Fighter. And again, I've prepped the first 3 rounds of what they're expecting them to do, because these ones are actual character sheets and there's a lot to go over. So I've just kind of made mental notes for myself so that I can reference this really quick, and so that my turns don't take eons, because it's lots to go over and I'm not playing them every session. So I'm hoping that this will speed things up. And then if we happen to get beyond that, I've got the starter for the next Cobalt Soul mission, which is the Allegiance Alliance, where basically you have been given permission from the Allegiance of Allsight to go into Kael Morrow, and Jamil gives you some tasks that he wants you to attempt to do in Kael Morrow. So we'll see if we get that far. I highly doubt it, but you never know. Secrets and clues, we've gone over these a couple of times. I'm not going to go over them again, but this is basically what the rivals know from their missions in the Allegiance of Allsight. NPCs, we've just got the rival party. We've got Sheed Kelter, who runs the Bowl of Judgment. We've got Jamil, who is the head of the Library of the Cobalt Soul. Caracol Legol, who we talked about a second ago, and Satsrak, we talked about a second ago as well. Monsters, we've got these same ones from the last time. The Ruidium Elephants, which we will use at the very beginning, and then there's Satsraks, Kelkers, Stat Block, and I've also got the rival party Stat Block. I don't have them here. I have them printed on a paper that I use because we see them regularly. And I've got links to all the stat blocks for the NPCs that my party might face in the finals of the group. So we'll see how that goes. And then treasure, we've just got the figurine of Wondrous Power, the marble elephant that they hopefully will never use, but hey, you never know, my party's a little crazy. That's pretty much it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and a huge thank you out to those who support on Patreon. Much appreciated. We'll see you in the next one.